in 2 weeks. I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote?
I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump.
I voted for Trump, and I regret it now.
As a Hispanic, I voted for Donald J. Trump. Dude, I regret it so much, man.
I am regretting my vote for Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump, and now I regret it.
A lot of people who were like me voted for Trump and have to account for that.
Hello brothers and sisters, I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you are watching me from now. Most of Nebraska farmers and Texas farmers are filing for bankruptcy. They are calling the black people to come and help them. They are calling out the nurses to come and help them because things are not doing good. They voted for Donald Trump and Donald Trump has turned against them. So let's watch this video, then have a really quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
I wanted to start off by saying I did vote for Donald Trump. We are possibly going to lose our farm if NRCS doesn't hold up their contract with us on the EQIP program. So the reason that they're not able to hold up the contract is our EQIP program, which is cost sharing on fences, waters, a well, and some seedings, was funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward. I'm not the only one this is affecting. So there are other farmers in the comments saying that they're in the same boat that I'm in because they signed these contracts, and the contracts, even like, so whenever I looked into the contract, I made sure that that funding was set aside. It wasn't funding that, oh, we hope it's there whenever it's done. I made sure that that funding was set aside so that way before I made these business decisions, I knew that funding was there per contract. So they're backing out on the contract because they don't have the funding. They can't release the funds.
Oh yeah, here in North Dakota, we definitely are regretting our votes for Grandpa Tariff. Oh yeah, me and my husband run a seed farm up here, and Daddy runs a soybean farm. And the tariffs are hitting North Dakota harder than almost any other state. Yeah, we're really concerned about it. Last time Trump was president, we had to get a bailout, and we were hoping that this time it would be better, but I'm not seeing any signs that we're gonna get spared this time around either. We had to pick up a couple pieces of steel in West Fargo yesterday, and we asked them if the tariffs had been affecting the prices yet, and they said just talking about the tariffs affects the price. You know, China will start going to Brazil and Africa for their soybeans, and then they'll establish relationships and we'll get completely cut out of the loop. Trump says it's short-term pain for long-term gain. So far in my life, I've never seen the tariffs do any gain for any of us farmers here in North Dakota. I'm not really even sure why we voted for him.
U.S. farmers are starting to regret their vote for Trump. From beekeepers to soybean to hay producers, all of them are starting to say, I never thought that voting for Trump 3 times would result in me losing tens of thousands of dollars. A beekeeper out of North Carolina says, yeah, I proudly voted for Trump all 3 times. I flew flags for him and put signs for him in the yard. But now I'm out tens of thousands of dollars due to lost federal funding and tariffs, so I cannot export my products, my honey and my wax, to other countries like I could before, and nobody's buying it in the United States. Hay producers in Idaho and Utah that export alfalfa hay to China are now seeing 135% tariffs put on their product, and all of a sudden, they don't have anywhere to ship it. They held it all winter in hopes of sending it off to China in the spring, and now China's not willing to buy. Soybean producers are once again being hit harder than they were in the first Trump administration, and China, for its part, has diversified where it pulls these products from, with Brazil becoming the #1 soybean exporter, and other countries picking up the slack for honey, for beeswax, and for hay around the world. Now, China's doing a great job diversifying, and the United States has relied on exports to China for so long that its farmers are going to just continue to suffer. Once again, the majority of them voted for Trump, and now they're finding out.
Well, it's official. The United States Senate is dead. Last night, the U.S. Senate announced to the world that they are no longer an independent legislative body. They announced to the world that they are nothing but an appendage of the Trump White House. Nothing but a rubber stamp for whatever the hell he wants to do. Because last night they voted to confirm Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense. A guy who is the single most unqualified Secretary of Defense in our nation's history. And not only is he unqualified in terms of his lack of relevant professional experience, but he is also disqualified because of his loathsome personal behavior and horrendous character. This is a really bad guy, and it is exceedingly dangerous to put this man in charge of the Department of Defense. But these senators on the Republican side, except for 3, all voted to confirm this man, who they all know has no business being Secretary of Defense. And they did it for one reason: because they are cowards. They are afraid to do what is right because they are afraid of Donald Trump. They are afraid that Donald Trump can end their political career with a single tweet if they get on his bad side. Because the base of the Republican Party is a cult in service of one man, Donald Trump. And if they don't do what he wants, they know that their career could be over in a second.
There's a whole lot of white people who are now upset that they voted for Trump. So I just want to point out this lesson and thing we do in the black community where we say all skin folk and kin folk. Y'all voted for that man because he's white and you didn't want to see a black woman become the president. And now you see all skin folk ain't kin folk. I don't feel sorry for y'all at all.
MAGA, you do realize that the Republican Party, including Donald Trump, are using you. You see, as a Democrat, we've been used as well. For the past 60 years, the Democratic Party has used black people to push their liberal agenda. Now, that is me saying that I agree with you in principle, but I disagree with you when you vote against your own interests, and you see the results of your actions that you took this past November at the ballot box. You see that what is happening in Texas, it's not an anomaly. That is something that happened because of the failures of politicians that put money first. You see, children are dead. It doesn't matter the color of the children. Children are dead. And they are dead because of racism, hatred, and bigotry. They are dead because white folks voted against their own interests. They voted to gut programs that helps them out. Go figure. You see, both political parties, both, and this is coming from a Democrat, both of them has taken advantage of the poor and the indigent people. They are going to cause you to fight your brothers and sisters in the streets of this country, shed blood. The elites are. They are setting everything in motion, upsetting you, putting you in a place that you're going to have to make a decision here shortly to kill your brothers and your sisters, all while fighting against your best interests. You guys have a nice day.
Well, I did it again, damn it. Went down that damn rabbit hole, and it was fun. Because I strolled down this hole of farmers that are mad because they're about to lose their farm. Because that federal grant money hasn't shown up yet. And they don't know what to do. And all of them crying. But damn it, in every freaking video, all of them, and I mean all of them, except for maybe one or two, all of them voted for Trump. So why are you complaining is my question. You voted for this. You asked for this stupidity. You complaining that you're about to lose your farm because you voted for a man who told you what he was going to do. But that's your freaking fault. Because you voted for your whiteness instead of voting your heart. Because you didn't want to see that black lady in office. So you voted for that white man. And you knew he was a crook. You knew he was a thief. You knew he was going to do all the dumb shit because you've seen it before. But you mad because you're about to lose your farm. Some of them crying. This land been in my family forever. Yeah. Because it was given to you a long, long time ago. And I ain't crying. And I ain't mad. And I don't care. Because that's what you get for voting for your whiteness. You voted for your whiteness instead of voting for the proper person that you knew was good for that job. But you wanted that man in office that bad. You didn't want her in office. You can't say you voted for the lesser of two evils. You voted his color, not his character. And before we get off of this, y'all know what to do. Hit the heart, share the video, do what we do. This TikTok, damn it. You knew better, but you did it. See, this land that y'all got for free, that's been passed down through the generations, that we didn't get our 40 acres of the mule. So why are we gonna be mad because you about to lose yours? This is by design. All of those corporations are buying up farmland across the freaking country. This is on purpose. But you've yet to realize that. Kamala had you saved. The money was appropriated. It was there. But you had to vote for Trump. You knew what he was. You knew what kind of guy he is. But you voted your color. And you thought you was going to get that privilege. But now you understand. If you ain't worth 7, 8 figures, he don't give a shit about you. Or your cousin, or your sister, your auntie. Nobody. Now you look like me to him. Because you ain't got it like that. So, I'm sorry you about to lose your land. But I really don't give a damn. Because you knew better. All of you. But you wanted to vote for your privilege and your color instead of who was deserving and who was better. So blame yourself. Blame your neighbor. Blame the people down the street. It ain't our fault. It's on you.
I know you told me you voted for President Trump. What were you hoping that he would do?
I was hoping he would do something that made sense regarding the economy, made some kind of progress in bettering, the benefits of being a veteran.
Pray tell, what exactly were the plans that he had said he was going to put in place that had you so excited that he was going to take care of veterans? What was the indication he gave you from his first presidency? Particularly when in 2017, he froze federal agencies, which affected the VA for 79 days. What was the reason? To reduce government agencies through attrition, to make the government leaner and more efficient. That's it. No plan. Literally, remove workers and do not replace. Exactly how does that get you your benefits when there's no one there to help you? Not to mention his privatization push, which basically made VA care lower quality, fragmented, and weaker overall. Trump actually downplayed the severity of combat troops' TBIs, traumatic brain injuries that they suffered from, calling them headaches. And finally, something that you guys seem to be like totally blind towards accepting is him calling fallen soldiers suckers and losers, to include prisoners of war like Senator John McCain. May he rest. Why do you think this man gives a fuck about you as a veteran? He has given no indication, in fact, the opposite, that he cares about veterans or doing anything for them.
I mean, it just seemed like he actually cared about doing what was best for the country, but now it just feels like all about me, Donald Trump. Not,
where have you been?
You know, the guy out there working in the trenches, trying to make ends meet, trying to pay a mortgage, trying to pay the bills. You know, it goes against everything I expected when, you know, I voted for him.
So you're not satisfied with what you see?
No. And it doesn't even have to do with anything about me getting fired. I mean, if I had gotten fired as part of the, you know, government, cutting government spending, I would have been fine with that. I can accept that.
Liar, liar, pants on fire, my little Pinocchio.
But he's not delivering on anything he said he was going to do.
What policies? Tell us. What specific policies were you so excited about? Because I don't remember a damn one that he proposed that made any fucking sense. You're not off the hook.
So what's your real game plan? You know, it doesn't make sense to me.
There are some things that he promised to do that he has put in place. I mean, there are executive orders that he's done, that he said that he was going to do. You don't feel like he's lived up to those promises?
I mean, where are the results? I mean, seriously, prices are still going up.
I'm going to say this once more because people don't seem to understand. Number one, the president is not the single biggest factor that affects global and national prices. There are other factors. That is just one. Secondly, your inability to understand why prices go up and down goes to show that you don't fucking get why Donald Trump is terrible when it comes to the economy. You know, he's terrible when it comes to everything, but one disaster at a time.
We're now in the middle of a tariff war with a bunch of countries that used to be our steadfast allies. I mean, how do you make an enemy of Canada? You know, they're right next to us, and they've been one of our premier allies and commerce partners for, I mean, seriously, like what, centuries now?
And he did say that he was going to put tariffs in place. Did you just not think that they would be implemented in this particular way?
I didn't think they were going to be put in play in a juvenile way.
I think you could have just stopped at, I didn't think.
I mean, where was the attempt to actually talk to the heads of these other countries like, hey, you know, I feel you have unfair tariffs against our products. I'd like to talk about it first. And if we can't work out some kind of resolution, then I feel to protect our people, we need to implement this kind of tariff. There was no attempt at even talking to the other countries.
When has he ever played nice with anyone ever? In his last presidency or outside of it, during his campaigns, when has he ever played nice? When has he ever been professional? Name one instance. I can't with these people. Y'all made your bed. Now you can lie in it.
These Democrats really are in a panic over this Texas redistricting line drawing thing that is going on right now. There's a special session. The Texas legislature has been called back in so that this issue can be addressed, because they have been padding the voter rolls for years, and they know they've been doing it. The liberals, the Democrats, are so unpopular, there is no way they could win an election with their far leftist ideology. No way. No way. So they're padding the voter rolls. That's what they've been doing, and they've gotten used to it, and it's being threatened now because of the redistricting and redrawing these lines, and perhaps even redoing a census at 5 years instead of to waiting the 10 years because it's so bad and so much fraud has been found that it is time to address this and not let it sit and fester and become a cancer like it has been. That's how these incapable, stupid people keep getting reinstalled into these positions. They don't know their job. All they do is steal our money and make themselves rich while their constituents suffer. So, this is why Jasmine Crockett in the 30th District in Texas is panicking. This is why she's done called in, Raphael Warnock, who is starting this John Lewis Voting Rights Act or John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. It's really stupid. John Lewis was a porch Negro who danced on the plantation for massa, and nobody misses him. Bye. Burning in hell, asshole. And now you've got Raphael Warnock, this fake ass preacher who has he's supposedly over the Ebenezer Baptist Church. Which, shut up, go somewhere. You are an apostate. You don't represent God. You sold something that doesn't belong to you, which is the soul that God gave you when you were at inception. So whatever, you sold your soul to the devil, and now you're up here at this so-called event trying to tell people, do you know he's saying shit like this? Go look at it under, he posted it on X, and it's like 42 minutes. I had to skip through it because I can't listen to 40 minutes of Raphael Warnock, this chump and this loser, tap dancing for massa on that porch. I can't listen to him. He talks about the Medicaid and how, they're taking away your Medicaid, not mentioning Joe Biden kicking millions of people off Medicaid back in 2022, 2023 during...
Hello brothers and sisters, I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from now. We've been seeing a lot of cries online about how the economy is doing in the US, and most of the people who are now complaining are the same people who voted for the same system and for the same government right now. Now, this is whatever happens in most cases. Now, look around the world. Most people who vote these governments are the same people who turn around and turn against the same government. It is the same people who realize that these people are not fit to hold any public office. I denounce saying anyone is unfit to hold public office, but I mean just judging them by their morals and how they have previously held their positions. You can tell if someone is good or if someone is bad. Now, most of the people in Africa, in the US, let me just say, human beings are the same. Are just the same. How they think, how they perceive about politics, and how they look at the whole thing. Tell me, why do we still have people crying about voting wrongly in the 21st century? Why do we have people still believing in fantasies instead of believing in realities? How do you tell me that someone who is 55, 60 years can still not tell about a political lie or a political fantasy being sold to them as a reality? How do we even end up voting the same people who we voted previously and cried, thinking that they have changed overnight and they're going to be messiahs or saviors of this world? Now, I sometimes feel like it is not the political class with a problem. It is us, the voters, who has a problem. Because if we believe in whatever fantasies they sell to us, and we previously knew them from their records, then who is blinded and who is making the mistake here? Is it the political class or the people who believe themselves as elites of voting? Now, I've been seeing a lot of videos being made about the historical foundation of Western control and how Donald Trump is reversing the same and making things even bad or worse in the United States of America. I've seen people talking about the America's white empire, and how Donald Trump is making or reversing or bringing back slavery. But the same people voted for the same man 3 times, How didn't you know that was a mistake for 3 times? The first time, maybe you might not, You might not have known the person because that's the first political seat he held, you know. The second time, the third time, and you tell me you are still not learning, there is a problem. And the problem is us. The problem is not the political elites we have. The problem is the people who go to the ballot to vote for the political elite. Tell me why we still have identity crisis, you know. I saw a group of people voting for Donald Trump because they believe they are close to whiteness and that they are going to punish the black community by voting a person who will come and deport, you know, because they believe maybe you are white and I'm something like white. That's very crazy. How do you even bring the identity politics in the 21st century? That's whatever the political class have always told you, that you're black, you're white, you are red, and all that stories, you know. But the real sense is when there is a crisis, everyone faces the crisis. When there is a political storm in a country, everyone experiences the political storm. It doesn't really matter whether you're white, red, Indian, whatever, I don't know, black. You'll always be affected with the prices, because there is no price for black, there is no price for brown, and there is no price for a white person. The prices at the stores match everyone, you know. And for this one reason, you might not want to get into a situation where you are voting someone out because you feel they're black and the black will be privileged if this person is being voted in. There is the notion of the black, the white privilege, that white people received some special treatment whenever they went to. And in most of the schools, they actually were being taught that they were great and all these other things. But we live in the 21st century where it doesn't matter whether you're white or where you come from. I know a lot of things are happening in the US right now, but are we really willing to sit down and discuss the problems we have as the human race? The political elites have always sat down, and I'm even told a story where that even the person who is going to contest with the opposition knows who is going to be the president, but they're just there for you to go and vote and believe that democracy exists. I've always said most of the times that democracy is the biggest lie that was sold to the human race. And the systems, the people who run these systems, once sat down and realized that telling you that there are human rights, they should be observed, that no one is above the law, but they are always above the law. Now look how the ICE team is behaving. They behave like they're above the law because they go into houses without even the arresting warrant. They go search premises without a permit to do so by the court. Is that person not yet above the law? Who is above the law? A person who unalives people? Hell no. We must be told the truth. I think you who is watching this video, I know you've been coming to this channel because I tell you the truth. And I do tell the truth. It doesn't matter who you are, where I am, and who I'm talking to. I always talk the truth because I believe in somehow the truth saves man free. And let me now talk to Latino MAGA supporters' identity crisis that they are having at the moment. Now, many Latinos supporters feel like they're facing a confusion right now because they voted for Trump thinking they'd be rewarded for their loyalty and opposition to illegal immigration. Has that happened? No. Hell no. Because they're the people who are facing deportation the most. They have been deported left, right, and center by Donald Trump's administration. And how are we going to reverse this over time? Voting for Donald Trump or voting for Kamala Harris or whatever, it might be a mistake. It doesn't matter who you voted for. It only matters what ideologies do you stand for. And how willing are you to change the country you live in? How willing are you to change everything? That, in fact, we are the change that we always talk about. Who do you want to change things if you yourself can't change the things around you? That's whatever I've always said, that I believe in changes that have been brought by me and in changes that I can initiate and the changes that I can communicate to someone that they can see and maybe change. Brothers and sisters, a time comes when we must ignore some policies, and we must bring them to discussion and debate them. If someone tells you they're going to deport people, you must ask who is going to be affected. Don't just vote because you've had illegal immigrants or aliens have invaded our countries and we need to take them back. You might think it's the black community going to be affected or the white community. Then it hits you back. The reality comes back on you that it is you who is going to be deported. So it is like voting against yourself, you know. Now, that's the biggest betrayal you can do to yourself. Voting thinking that you're voting for someone else's problems to multiply, then the few things that you've been enjoying starts going west or south, you know. We must be very careful. That I'm very sad that I hear some people talking about they didn't think that the white or the black people will survive the menace that was going to come with Donald Trump's election victory. I'm very sad at that. I'm very, very sad. I say, and I've always said, I do not know whether you're white, brown, black, we are all people of human race, and we must act responsible when we need to. Because if I go down, you go down, who will remain at the top? No one. If we don't pay our taxes, who remains at the top? No one. So, brothers and sisters, we just do not vote to punish the other group. I do not want to see blacks voting in the coming years to punish the Latinos or the white community. No, I want the black, Latinos, and everyone in the US to come back to their senses and know that politics is life. Do not joke with your life. Politics controls everything in our country. And the political class have absolute powers from you people. And you might want to take your powers back to you. The Constitution was made, yes. But is the Constitution being followed? No. No one follows the Constitution. The last time I checked, everyone is above the law. Everyone holding a political seat or a political position is above the law. They can do everything until they come out of power. So how do you want them to be held responsible if you yourself cannot do something that is right to change the way things are in your country? Now, I just want to see God's justice being done to all of you. Everyone who voted must be held accountable in whatever capacity according to how they voted. You know, we are seeing a very bad situation. I've seen farmers, and it is farming that runs a country. Believe me or not, without food, there is nothing you can do. So I see a lot of farmers filing for bankruptcy. I've seen Nebraska and Texas farmers, Kentucky farmers crying out on the internet that they are going broke. Their foods are rotting. Their foods are going bad in the farms. There is no one to harvest blueberries, no one to harvest wheat. And you all voted for this. And you regret, and you want everyone else to join you in your regrets. Let's wait and see. We must be very careful how we transact. There was the MAGA promise versus the reality. Now people are facing the reality, and the reality is hitting so hard. It is becoming so nostalgic version of America at the moment. We do not want to see the same things happening. You know, that people thought that the justice system was going to be overturned and to turn against the black people, but that has not happened, and they are so much pissed off. We must learn lessons, and we must learn from where we go wrong. We must not allow things to go south each time. Thank you so much for having taken this time to watch this video. I really appreciate. This is where I say the truth, and if the truth hurts you, it means you are doing something which is not right. Thank you so much.